Good evening and welcome to the Sports Gazette studios here in Twickenham. My name is Fergus Mainland and today has been a fantastic day of sport with the West London Varsity taking place. We've had competitions between St Mary's University and Brunel University here on campuses across St Mary's, and I'm joined in the studio by James Price. James, what have been some of the headlines from today?
Well, we've had 15 sports, 30 games, men's and women's, the intercity derby between, as you said, St Mary's and Brunel. Sport doesn't get much better than this. We've got plenty of action to get through.
We certainly do, and the whole morning kicked off at 8 o'clock with cricket, and our reporter George Yates was there to cover all of the action.
I'm here with Matt Eldridge, captain of the St Mary's team. Matt, convincing victory today. How do you feel?
Yeah, I feel good. After me getting out first ball, I was a bit pissed off, to be honest, but the lads played really well, bowled really well. Sam and Will came and batted really well at the end, so yeah, couldn't be happier. Big 50-run win, and yeah, all good.
A couple of early wickets for you guys, but you managed to bring it back really well. Yeah. What was the thinking behind that? Well,
we had a big chat before the game. I mean, obviously me getting out and Archie getting out first of all wasn't ideal. It was a bit of a shit. But they knew what they were doing. They knew the game plan. Hit it soft to the walls, hit big when it's straight, and they just kept calm, kept composed, and they brought it home. And we got a good score, something to defend and something to bowl at, and then yeah, that was all good.
In terms of the bowling, it was absolutely magnificent effort, really stifling the Brunel attack. What do you put that down to?
Practice, really. Last few Mondays we've been bowling a lot, just making sure we're not bowling any wides, because that's the main thing. You get 2 or 3 runs for a wide ball. It's a big amount if you keep bowling down there. So just practice, repetition, keep on bowling loads and making sure we're accurate as we can. And today we showed it. Yeah.
Lastly, Brunel were a bit late today. Did that get in the heads of you guys, or did that make you more motivated for today?
It actually made us just not want to beat it. We were like, it's got a bit boring, got a bit dragged on, got a bit tired. So we kind of just got a bit got up for it, and then just kind of got down for it again. But when we got going, obviously me getting out wasn't the best start when we just got going. But who cares? Won the game. I don't really care. It's all good.
And any plans for the rest of the day?
Big breakfast and some tinnies.
Fair enough.
I'm here with Archie Tellman, captain of Brunel Cricket. Archie, disappointing result. How do you feel?
Yeah, no, not great, to be fair. I mean, fair play to St Mary's, came out, played well. So yeah, just one of those things. Indoor cricket can go either way a lot of the time. If you get on top and get the momentum, then it goes well. So it played well.
You're trying to say that if you'd been playing outside, you might have won?
I can't speak for that. I'd love to play outdoor varsity. I think it'd be a much more competitive game, much more enjoyable for us as players. But fair play to St Mary's, they beat us the other day.
Do you think this is going to be a reflection of the day in total, or are you going to come back?
No, we'll come back. I'm not worried about that overall. Just disappointing for us as individuals, but I'm all confidence in Brunel that we'll come through in the end.
It's nice to see that confidence. And just finally, what happened this morning with getting here?
As I said to you just earlier, I'm more local than the rest of the lads, but apparently there was issues with the coach. So we're meant to be picked up at 7, the lads were, and the coach didn't turn up, and they were just told apparently it broke down on the way, or it never. I'm speculating, I wasn't there, but yeah, bit of a pain for us. But I was here nice and early, waiting around. Been here since 7:40 or something. So there you go.
Shame that dedication can be matched by teammates. Bad start to the day all round for Brunel.
So that's it here at the tennis courts here at St Mary's. A comfortable victory for the home side. Brunel won the toss and bowled first, and St Mary's scored 94 or 4 runs and their 8 overs. In reply, Brunel only managed to get 59 for 5, and a comfortable victory here for St Mary's. A good start for the home side today.
Thank you very much to George for that one. And what we're going to do is run through some of the other scores from earlier in the day. So, of course, George, with the cricket, St Mary's getting that early win. And St Mary's also had a couple of other wins early in the day. A 7-3 win for the lacrosse men's team. Brunel, unfortunately, taking a big dub over the women's badminton team with a 9-0 drubbing. Another win for Brunel, 5-3 win in the men's badminton, And then finally in the rugby union, Brunel 43 points to 21. I said that St Mary's had a couple of wins there, and I was completely lying, clearly. I hadn't read through the scores, Fergus. And then we headed over to Tedlock, didn't we? And we had some football as well as some lacrosse.
We did. Plenty of football going on, and we started off with some draws on the men's side of things, both the 1s and the 2s. 0-0 draws, and then a 3-3 draw for the men's fifth team as well. With the lacrosse though, it was a great result for the host St Mary's University, coming out 9-6 winners, much like the women's basketball game, of which our reporter Ashley Ahmed was at to produce this piece.
One of the highlights of the West London Varsity games is basketball. Today, St Mary's came here optimistic but short-handed with only 6 players.
St Mary's got a double-figure lead in the first quarter over the visitors with 20-10 points. The visitors from Brunel started to find their range, hitting multiple 3-point shots to take the lead at the half, 35-30 over St Mary's. Katie Richards from St Mary's was the top scorer with 46 points.
Thank you to Ashley for covering the women's basketball game, and what we're going to do now is take a look at some of the other scores that have been taking place later this morning. And we'll start with the powerlifting, another fantastic win for St Mary's, coming out on top, 66.15 points victors over Brunel, 53.81 points. James, I'm not quite sure how the scoring works, but it looks like another great result.
I've got no idea what that means, but great stuff.
Really good stuff from the Simmies there. Then looking across to some of the netball that we had, a women's first team win for St Mary's, 50-38 over Brunel. That was one of the best atmospheres that we had all day. At least 200 people were there watching that. And we finally had the women's volleyball taking place in the same sports hall, which was a 3-0 drubbing for Brunel.
And alongside that, I headed down to Tedlock to have a look at the men's hockey, as well as we had Todd Harris, our basketball expert, to watch our very own Oliver Laurie in the basketball. We're 5 minutes away from kickoff here at the men's West London Varsity, and we're here with Coach Billy.
Hi, nice to meet you. Thanks for having us.
Score predictions for today.
It'll be tough. What I will say is they're not a bad outfit, but we are definitely the stronger team. One thing we've done all year is bin them in the last 20 minutes, so make sure you stay to the end. 4, 5, 6, please.
And for the rest of the season so far, you've already beaten them twice.
Yeah, beat them twice, beaten everyone else as well. So hopefully we're on a positive note today.
Unbeaten season to finish. Awesome. Have a cracking game.
Thank you, mate.
Best
Cheers.
of luck.
Enjoy the game.
As the team lingered up after a short bus ride over, could they be the first team to beat St Mary's all of this season? Well, it didn't start off well for the visitors, as St Mary's had the first shot corner of the game, just going wide of their left-hand side post. Brunel did settle into the game and managed to get a short corner of their own. However, a good save from James Hudson in the sticks for St Mary's ensured they stayed on top. That was pretty much the sum of the first half, but St Mary's kept onto the ball for the majority of it, and even got one good shot through Alex Carter, who unfortunately hit straight at the keeper. But then, finally, another short corner, and this time, to the top of the D, converted. The celebrations were barely over, and St Mary's had another short corner out to Nathan Sinclair, into the forwards and into the goal. Brunel did manage to grab one consolation goal, but ultimately that was all they could muster, as the St Mary's forwards pinned them into their own half and ensured they weren't able to get an equalising goal. A 2-1 victory for St Mary's in the West London Varsity, and an undefeated season completed.
The St. Mary's basketball squad came into the West London Varsity looking to bounce back after suffering their first 2 defeats in league. Despite missing some key players, St. Mary's were confident that they could turn the tables and get the win after losing to Brunel the past few years. Quarter 1 saw the home team get out to an 8-point lead, as visiting Brunel seemed to have left their offense back at Uxbridge. Leading 13-5 going into the second quarter, it was St. Mary's turn to go cold from the field, as they took a 1-point lead into halftime, 18-17. The second half saw both teams begin to find their offensive groove, and shots began to fall at a greater pace, with the third quarter ending in a tie game, 38-all. The fourth quarter was a back-and-forth affair, with both teams taking the lead. With just 2 minutes to play, St. Mary's began to pull away and extended their lead to 5. Brunel tried to stop the clock by fouling and sending St. Mary's to the line, but players like Ollie Laurie stepped up to the line and calmly knocked down the free throws to extend the lead and shut the door on any Brunel comeback. So the final score at the West London Varsity, St. Mary's gets the win over Brunel. Coach Shaheen Taub, what was the key to the victory today?
Actually, it was a tie game. In some periods they were up, and in some periods we were up, but at the end we won the game because being great teammates, we supported each other and trusted each other, and it was a result. Yeah.
You had a 5-point lead with 2 minutes to go.
Yeah.
I was going to say, what did you tell your team during the timeout? But you were actually on the court.
To give me some stops, and offense-wise to decrease the flow of the game, try to keep the ball, share the ball, and that's it.
You got some good hustle play out of this guy. Oliver, great hustle play. You had 2 key free throws down the stretch. What do you think the key was for the victory for you guys?
I think it was just working hard down the stretch. I mean, we struggled to shoot all day, but we kept working on defense and got those 50-50 plays. And if we hadn't got those, then we wouldn't have been where we are today. So,
you guys were trailing with about 7 minutes to go. What was the mood around the team? What did you say to each other?
I'd say it got a bit edgy there a little bit because we were struggling to make sure that we made all the plays we needed to make. But then at the end, we started to pick each other up, like Coach said. I got behind each other. The crowd got behind us, the amazing crowd here at St. Mary's. And then the rest is history. We got the dub.
Final score, St. Mary's gets the win 58-50. Reporting for the Sports Gazette, I'm Todd Harris.
Thank you to our basketball expert from across the pond, Todd Harris, for covering the game earlier today. And James, that was a great package on the hockey as well. But you're going to take us through some of the scores from earlier today.
Yeah, thanks, Ferg. I enjoyed watching the hockey too. But we're just going to run through some of the other scores that we had. St. Mary's, a huge win, possibly the only one that we could have predicted at the beginning of the day, a 44 points to 4 win in the rugby league, the men's rugby league. The women's hockey, a 0-0 draw after the men's game, an exciting second half of the men's game. Clearly not so exciting in the women's game, unfortunately. Brunel, a 1-0 win for the men's football threes team, and St. Mary's finally a 1-0 win in the men's fours football.
Yeah, finally good to see some wins there from the men's football. Too many of those draws happening early on. But now what we're going to do is head over to the tennis matches where Anna Rodriguez and Adriana Verens were covering it for us.
After a morning of tennis here at Teddington Lock in the West London Varsity, all the single games are over. It's a nail. Brunel University is leading this competition at the moment. Here, Anna Rodriguez for the Sports Gazette.
It's been great so far, although I lost, but I had fun doing it. It's good to see everyone playing, you know, all different levels. So you got, I guess myself, Surya, who are like the main guys who play tennis, and then for the women's it's like Jemima and Camille. So it's good to see everyone out, especially on like a windy, rainy day like today. So yeah, none of us really wanted to play on the courts because they're very slippery, but yeah, we got through it. Best thing about varsity, competitive nature. Like, even got into a little bit of a fight with the guy today, so it's a war of words, and like, it's just, I like the competitive side of things. I mean, you know, from the behind, it's football mainly competitive, but then it's good to get competitive nature in tennis. And you know, anyone who's wanting to join tennis, you know, this is a reason why at uni to play varsity, play these type of events, because this is what is great for the uni.
It's been a really cool experience. It's my first time since I'm an international student, and Brunel, the opponents are really nice. I actually got a coach session from one of my opponents, so it was really fun. And also being with the team, it's also the first time that boys and girls from St. Mary's play together on the same court, so yeah, it's been really fun. Yeah, I mean, the weather is a bit, yeah, a bad factor, but other than that, it's really fun. Yeah, because also there's no pressure. I mean, obviously we want to win, but it's not like you have to win, or it's just about the pride. It's not really like there's no prize. So yeah.
Thanks very much to Anna and Adriana for that coverage of the tennis. Some great interviews there and some great insight into the tennis side of today. And Fergus, a couple more scores just to run through.
We certainly do, and we'll start with the weightlifting. Very different, of course, to the powerlifting that we covered earlier on. St. Mary's were winners once again there, 207 points to 3 over 204.75 points. That looks a really high score margin that they have put together there, so fantastic there. Netball 2s, another win for St. Mary's, meaning they won both the netball matches. Great to see. We've had a 4-0 win for St. Mary's in the women's football, and in the men's tennis, a 5-1 win for Brunel.
It's been a long day of sport here on the St. Mary's campus and on the Tedlock campus. We've got 2 final packages for you today. We have got some cheerleading covered for you by Kieran Roy, as well as finally some men's volleyball covered by Jackson Fuller.
Well, after long delays due to a broken down bus alongside a slightly bizarre and seemingly never-ending Brunel dance routine, cheer finally kicked off at the West London Varsity event at St Mary's University this afternoon. With both sides bringing large fan bases, you could feel the excitement in the room. And an early floor routine set the tone before a quick practice made it clear that we were in for an exciting cheer finale. Brunel were up first and got off to a lively start, displaying immaculate coordination and teamwork which riled up the away supporters. And despite some minor errors and a painful-looking fall, it seemed clear that the bar for St Mary's had been set high, especially when Brunel put on this show-stopping finale. St Mary's looked like they would be forced to deliver a perfect performance in front of their home crowd if they were to have any chance of bettering their opposition. And the hosts got off to a good start with some well-executed floor work. As the routine became more ambitious, however, errors began to creep into St Mary's performance, a near-horror fall highlighting how the routine had begun to waver. The home side ended strongly, but it was clear that the previous mistakes had already cost them.
Well, it's all over here in the cheerleading, and Brunel have come out on top over St Mary's. It was a brilliant performance from both sides, but I think Brunel were just a bit more clinical, and that saw them get the more points scored.
An away victory then, and Brunel was sure to make their celebrations heard. Kieran Roy, Sports Gazette.
Jackson Fuller here, and we just finished up the volleyball portion of this West London Varsity, and it is a Brunel sweep after the women won 3-0 against St Mary's University. The men finished off a 3-1 victory just moments ago. But despite that scoreline, it was a very tight affair. The first 3 sets were all very close and came right down to the wire. The first set really set the tone, with Brunel having to go to extra points and winning 28-26. But eventually, Brunel was too much for St Mary's. They cruised in the 4th set, and with this win, have closed the gap in the West London Varsity standings right now. After the match, we caught up with Brunel captain Malik Emirudin for his thoughts on his team's 3-1 victory.
So I think the difference for us was we have more experienced players than them. So usually we compete in Div 1 of the volleyball league, whereas they usually compete in Div 2. So I think the difference for us was our experienced players coming on and showing how to play volleyball properly.
Thanks to Kieran and Jackson, our reporters out in the field covering the cheerleading and the volleyball. And James, we've had so much sport taking place today, but we're not quite done yet.
We're not quite done yet, but as the scores stand, St Mary's are winning 15 points to 13. Now, they haven't won in a couple of years, Fergus, so fingers crossed scores stay the same. A couple more to come in, but it's looking like a St Mary's victory.
It certainly is. And have you enjoyed varsity, your first varsity at St Mary's University?
It's not been the best weather, I must admit, but I had a lot of fun going down to Tedlock and being in that environment, sport happening all over the place, and this event's a great thing.
It certainly is. So St Mary's University are currently leading only by a fraction of points, and if they are able to come out on top at the end of today, it will be their first win since 2018. So we're painting our faces white and blue for the rest of the day and putting our faith in the semis in the West London Varsity 2023. Thank you for following the Sports Gazette coverage of the West London Varsity. I've been Fergus Mainland. Thank you and good night.